In the Marlborough Sounds, wilding pine trees have been a problem for decades. After the Second World War, large areas of native bush were burnt off to create more space for farming. The pine trees were then able to spread, creating visual and environmental problems.
3 years ago, a group of residents and holiday homeowners got together. They all had concerns about the wilding pines and the impacts on the landscape and also on our ecosystem, and so they thought, what can we do about it? And so they got together and developed a plan. Different methods were looked at, but poisoning was certainly the most effective. So the feeling is that we will have them under control, and there will be some areas that we won't need to revisit at all, and there will be other areas that may require 1 or 2 retreatments again. For the first year, we had to raise $190,000, effectively raised by a substantial grant from the New Zealand Lotteries Grant Board, also New Zealand King Salmon, and a small amount from Department of Conservation as well. We've also this year gone out to the community as well, and the fundraising has been really effective. We have to raise $500,000 over the next 3 years. It's a really good example of community coming together, and also the community supporting in other ways, in kind as well. So we have the local community supply vessels for the contractors to move around the Sounds in. The holiday homeowners provide their homes for accommodation for the contractors to stay in over, as well. So it is a real community effort. This year particularly, we've had, as the residents have seen and holiday homeowners have seen the benefits of the effectiveness of the program, we've had substantial buy-in from local residents. Incredible what they've managed to do with the bush here, isn't it? It's just fantastic.
It's amazing how fast the Sounds bush will grow under that dappled sunlight.
Yeah.
I think the difference between chopping them down is you get full sunlight, and that encourages the pines.
Right.
And the dappled sunlight is what the native regeneration is adapted to, so it really comes away.
So,
DOC hasn't had any direct involvement with the Trust. We have established methods and have been trialling those methods, and we're more than happy and have shared that information with the Trust. So the method they're using was developed a few years ago now by DOC for killing wilding pines. Metsulfuron breaks down very rapidly. It's not a residual herbicide. Within about 48 hours, any effect that it has had is gone. It's contained fully within the tree, and there's information from both overseas and New Zealand that it doesn't affect boring insects, it doesn't affect birds, and in very rare cases it can affect some plants in close proximity, but that's very rare. The smallest trees are pulled out when they can be, so that's any seedlings, and any trees up to 100 mils through are cut with a handsaw. It's just impractical to poison them that size. You'll see an oranging and turning to red in the trees within about 4 to 6 weeks. And then over a period of time, it goes to brown, the needles fall off, the small branches, larger branches, and you're left with spar, which eventually falls, not damaging too much of the canopy. There's a lot of jetties, batches, power lines, so there's buffer zones with all those that are established by the Restoration Trust in consultation with the various agencies.
This is a great example of the effects of poisoning of the trees. So to our right, we've got trees ranging from 10 years, so you can see the spars, it's all that's left of the trees, and then gradually 5 years where they've still got the grey, you'll see the old branches, etc. on the trees, and then 2 years where they're still grey, you still see the structure of the tree quite clearly. So what will happen is as the spars get older, the tops will start to fall off them, and of course that then gives the opportunity for all the native flora and fauna to grow. This is a great example in here of the native bush and how well it can grow through thick stands of trees once they've been treated. I mean, there's no doubt that it's not the most attractive look, and it is going to have quite a substantial impact for the relative short term on the visual impact on the Sounds. But as a legacy for our children and our grandchildren, I think this is a really positive, wonderful thing to be doing for our environment.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.